news story that I've been seeing that kind of boggled my mind and then kind of got me thinking. People are people are checking out. People don't care. No one really wants to be involved with all this nonsense. And the story's not some big mass exodus of Democrats or Republicans. It's not some big protest. It's a raccoon. It's a raccoon. The big story for the past, I don't know, like week or so has been this little raccoon. At the Smithsonian Magazine, an unusual looking raccoon nicknamed Jimothy is winning hearts across the internet for his short, round body. Here's a little picture of Jimothy. Jimothy has a spinal problem, and Jimothy does not walk the same way as every other raccoon. That's the story, and everyone is on board, loving Jimothy. Now, personally, I think raccoons are adorable. They're pests, but they're adorable little pests with their little fucking bandit masks and stealing your garbage and whatnot. They're cute. They're adorable. I love me a trash panda. Okay, there's that episode of King of the Hill where Bobby tries to adopt a raccoon and Hank wigs out, and then they try to kill the raccoon because they think it gave Ladybird rabies. Yeah, it's a situation similar to that. I love raccoons. I think they're adorable, but they are pests at the end of the day. They're pests. Can't necessarily trust them. You can raise them to a certain point, but they're not like a reliable pet. Someone spilled something on my desk, and now there's a dirty, sticky spot. Excuse me a moment while I do basic housekeeping. And I knock things off my desk. Wonderful, wonderful. Wunderbar! Anyway, why is Jimothy blowing up when there's things like Mitch McConnell might be dead? That was a big story. Mitch McConnell might be dead. But no one cares about Mitch McConnell. Everyone wants to talk about Jimothy. Jimothy! I want to talk about Jimothy. I don't want to talk about Mitch McConnell. Fuck that guy. Actually, you know what? Let's just keep up a little picture of Jimothy. I like Jimothy. We're just going to keep Jimothy up. Look at how adorable he is with his little spinal problem and his little fucked up back. I empathize with Jimothy. I have a fucked up back. My back's shot. Jimothy's back's shot. We're basically the same person. But why do we all care about Jimothy and not what's going on in the world? I think we've gotten to a point where everyone's so overwhelmed with all this bullshit. Look at how cute that little guy is, right? Everyone's like, look at how cute he is. It's not murder and terrorism and politics and this person's a Nazi and that person's a racist and this person's transgender and they're a liar, and it's not that. I think everyone's so tired of that. Look at how cute little Jimothy is. I digress. I made my point. Jimothy's adorable, right? Jimothy's fucking adorable. We all need a little bit of Jimothy in our life. But so many people have said, I don't care about politics. Look at Jimothy. I don't care about the news. Look at Jimothy. I don't care about Israel and Palestine. Look at Jimothy. I don't care about fucking Iran and Israel's issues. This little raccoon in Seattle is way more exciting than any of this geopolitical nonsense. I think people are really getting checked out. I think people are really tired of the politics. I know that I have been for a while, and that's why I've kind of toned back on the politics a little bit. And I've started talking about other stuff. Started talking about body cam footage. I mean, there's just so much other stuff that I want to talk about. Talked about games. I still owe Cyberpunk a apology video that needs to happen sooner or later. I should probably make that. I made a video a few weeks ago saying Cyberpunk's terrible. I hate this game. Then I forced myself to play through it, and I was like, oh my god, this game is awesome. This is a super fun game. It's not a fun game to go explore around in, but it's a fun game to play the story of. Why is it so fun? Because it's not super political. There's a couple quest lines that make me roll my eyes, specifically one with a trans person it makes me roll my eyes. It was a dude turned girl, but like they clearly drew her as like a girl. She was clearly like drawn as a girl, and then they like probably threw that quest line in later, and we're like, oh, let's make her trans too. It's super dumb. I appreciate the efforts they went to be inclusive, but I don't think they needed to do all that to be inclusive. For example, there's like whichever character you pick to play as, male or female, there's quest lines for whether you're straight or gay. You can have a companion whether you're straight or whether you're gay for both of those. Cool. I don't really care. You know, I don't really give a shit. Anyway, I digress. Um, Stuff like that is minorly political, but like it's not like in your face. It's just like if you wanted to get the romance aspect of the game and you happen to be gay, there's an option. I'm fine with that. I don't care. That's not that bad. Because it's not shoved down your throat, it's not forced. And you can always turn down that person. So it's, it's cool. But nobody wants to talk about politics. Everyone would rather talk about games. Everyone would rather talk. I know Sean Ryan, for example, has been on a religion kick for months. Dude's been talking about religion left and right. He had on JD Vance. That's an interview that I've been wanting to watch, but I haven't gone riding on the dirt bike, so that's when I'm listening to these podcasts and stuff. Is when I'm out on the dirt bike. So I need to go for a ride so that I can listen to this podcast between Sean Ryan and JD, or was it? It might have been Joe Rogan that had JD Vance on. It was Sean Ryan or JD Vance. I might be wrong, but I digress. A lot of these people aren't interviewing political people anymore. They still do some political stuff, but they're interviewing more normal people, more run of the mill folks. They're interviewing just normal guys and gals that are just doing their thing. They're not so much worried about, oh, well, the politics of this. I don't care. And I'm kind of getting to a point where I'm like, I don't really care for the politics of it. When I first started doing this, I wanted to talk about politics and I wanted to show people, oh, the left is full of liars. They are trying to burn down America. Excuse me a second. That's a little bit better. When I first started this, I was, the left is full of people that are trying to destroy America. They want to rip America to shreds. And I still believe that, and I still think that is true, but I'm at a point where there is nothing I can do to stop the fact that they're trying to destroy America. I can't stop it. There's no way I can put an end to it. So what do I do? Just sit here and scream at my wall until something happens? Well, that's not working. I've been doing that for a couple of years. No, I'm going to go talk about other stuff. Maybe I can make a difference somewhere else, but I can't make a difference in the political space because no one gives a shit right now. And it's fair that no one cares because at a certain point, I don't care either. I was so adamant that we need to get the Trump administration in. The Trump administration is going to turn this thing around. We're going to go back to cheap gas, no new wars. It's going to be perfect. It's going to be great. And now here we are. New wars on behalf of Israel. Gas is expensive. You can't afford to live. You can't afford to do anything. And everyone wants to talk about a raccoon. And I feel it. I really do. I empathize with it. Because it's like, I'm trying to find a job. Everyone's telling me this is a great economy. If it's such a great economy, why can't I find a job? If the economy is so great and so strong, why can't I find a job? Let's talk about the raccoon. Let's talk about the raccoon. I would rather talk about the little trash panda. The economy is so great. Oh, and then you turn around and you listen to YouTubers. And I don't mean to call out Dirt Lifestyle specifically. It's just one of his videos really frustrated me because he's talking about these pickups. It's a truck. It's called an Earth Roamer. It has a huge camper on the back. I'll pull up an image of one. And these things are like $400,000. Let me pull up a picture so you can see what I'm talking about. These things are ridiculously expensive. This is an Earth roamer. This thing's huge. It's an F450 or something on like 40-inch tires, and they have even bigger ones like this one. It's like an F650. It's like a 2-bedroom fucking mobile home on the back of this thing. And he's talking about how people are buying these instead of houses. It's like, no one's buying these instead of houses. Nobody can afford these either. No one's buying these. No one can afford them. They are insanely expensive. Maybe companies are buying these. Maybe corporations that, like Skyjacker, might buy a couple of them so that when they go to events, they have a vehicle like that for their crew to use while they're at, Baja or whatever they're doing, when they're doing promotions, things of that nature. Rough Country, Warn, these off-road brands, Old Man Emu might be buying these things, but normal people aren't, because these things are $400,000. And when Dirt Lifestyle, Nate, he says, oh yeah, people are buying these instead of buying a house, it made me so angry I threw my phone. It pissed me off so much, because it's like, no, people aren't buying these because they can't afford houses. People can't afford houses or these. You've made it to a point where you're rich enough that this doesn't affect you. You could buy one of those instead of a house. I can't. Normal people can't. It frustrated me. It made me upset, because it's like, no, normal people are struggling to buy groceries. Normal people are about to be evicted. Normal people are living paycheck to paycheck with an eviction notice every month. That's how normal people are living, because the economy is shit. I don't care who you are. This is not a strong economy. This economy is garbage. And I'm tired of people on the right being, oh, well, it's going to be a strong economy. You just got to give the president some time. Nope. Done with that. Fuck that guy. I'm broke. I'm hungry, and I can't find a job. Fuck that guy. And no, I'm not saying fuck Trump as in I renounce Trump. I regret voting for Trump. No, I don't, because I think a Kamala Harris presidency would have been 8.5 times worse on the low side. I'm not saying I regret voting for Trump. No, I don't. I am saying I'm upset that I voted for something and I didn't get what I voted for, and so I'd rather talk about the raccoon. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to help that guy out. I don't want to make that guy's life any better, because he hasn't made mine any better. So I don't want to sit here and say, yeah, voting for Trump was the right call, because I don't think it was the wrong call, but I'm definitely a little pissed off that my gas prices skyrocketed. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, voting for Trump was a mistake. No, it wasn't. I would have much rather voted for Trump than fucking Biden or fucking Harris or any of these other left-wing lunatics that would have immediately destroyed this country. I would much rather vote for Trump than that. But, yeah, I'm tired of the politics. I'm tired of people bringing politics into everything. And it's like, I guess we'd rather talk about a raccoon. A raccoon is a little more, what's the word I want to use here? A raccoon's a little more exciting than Trump is still at war with Iran on behalf of Israel. That's the one that irks me, is it's all on behalf of Israel. We're at war with Iran because Israel wanted a war with Iran. We're not at war with Iran because we really had a reason to go to war with Iran. We had reasons, don't get me wrong, but that's not why we're there. That's not what we're doing there. We're there because fucking Netanyahu said, well, we're getting in on this, so you can either go in with us or you can go in on your own, and we're not going to back you up. And Trump said, well, I should probably go in with you then, because the backup would be nice. So Netanyahu forced us into this fight. I'm not saying that Trump is working on behalf of Israel. I'm saying Israel, our ally, said, I'm getting in a bar fight tonight. You can either come join me or might get my ass beat and look real bad on you if I got the shit beat out of me because you're a pro boxer. Look real bad on you if you let your best friend get the shit kicked out of him. Just saying, you should probably come with me and get into this bar fight because you're a pro boxer. You back up your friends, wouldn't you? If you don't, that looks real bad on you. That's what Israel does all the time. But no one wants to talk about Israel. No one wants to talk because we can't change it. Bitching about Israel doesn't change the fact that gas is $5 a gallon. Bitching about now, I will say gas has come down. It's about $4 a gallon right now. It's $3.50 to $4 a gallon, which is still fucking ridiculous. Still absurdly high. I remember dollar gas. For a brief moment during COVID, we had $1 and change for a gallon of gas. Our economy was doing good. I voted for that. And now I'm upset to the point where I would rather talk about a raccoon. Because I feel like the right's a lost cause. On the right, we have all these people that are, oh, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do this, we'll do that. All these people on the right, oh, when the end of the world comes, I got guns. When the end of the world comes, I have rations. When the end of the world comes, I have this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, okay, when the end of the world comes, you don't have a network of people. When the end of the world comes, you don't have people to back you up. When the end of the world comes, you don't have people that are going to be trusted to watch over your family while you go hunt and forage. You might have medication for a month. You might have food for 2 months. At some point, you're going to have to either die or forage, and you don't have anyone that can take care of your wife while you're out. You don't have anyone. You're the only one trained for. And we're going to have hundreds of groups of one guy who's capable leaving their family behind. And how do you think that's going to end? When you're one guy with a family of 5 and all your kids are young and your oldest kid is 8, 9, 10 years old, how do you think that's going to end? Not well, because the leftists, they're going to have groups of people. They're going to have groups of 10, 15, 20, and they're going to come through and they're going to slaughter your family. When it all falls apart, when it all comes down. We're over here on the right telling everybody else what they should do, and no one's doing it. No one's building a coalition. No one's building up groups of people. And when they do, like American contingency, like I talked about the other day, they get labeled as domestic terrorists. So yeah, fuck it. I'd rather talk about the raccoon. I don't want to be the only one putting in all the effort while everyone else sits around dicking around being assholes. So yeah, fuck it. Let's talk about the raccoon. I'm frustrated. I'm annoyed. I'm over a lot of this stuff. I'm tired of talking about, oh, it's war with Iran. Oh, the war's over. Oh, the war's back on. Oh, the war's over again. Back on again. Over again, on again. It's like, just fuck at this point, you know? Like, just get it over with. Fucking get it over with. It's like that guy who always argues with his fucking buddy's girlfriend. It's like, would you two just fuck? Well, like, would you two just get it over with? Pretty obvious you guys want to bang, you know? That's where we're at with society. Nobody wants to deal with this stuff. No one cares. People on the right feel like it's a lost cause. People on the left feel like they've already won. No one gives a shit anymore. And it's hard to give a shit. I fully understand. I fully admit it's hard to give a shit. Because I have a hard time giving a shit. That's why videos have been so infrequent lately. You would think I've not been working. You would think I'd be knocking out videos every single day, but it's like, I just don't care. Just don't give a shit today. I don't have anything to say. Don't want to talk about it. Because every time I talk about it, nobody listens. This video will probably go viral because it's about a raccoon. But I talk about something important and it gets 4 views. I talk about a terror attack and it gets 20 views at best. I talk about some nonsense and it gets 40 views. People don't want to talk about the important stuff. Talk about Mitch McConnell might be dead and it gets fucking 10 views. I talk about a raccoon and it gets 100. So, I mean, at a certain point, it's just like, what's the point of talking about the politics and what's the point of calling out the hypocrisy if no one does anything? We called out the hypocrisy to the point where the president of the United States calls the mainstream media fake news, but nothing gets done about it. Nothing gets done about it. There's no legislation proposed. There's no one saying, okay, we should stop using these news organizations. There's no one saying we should, boycott CNN. It's not happening. Why? Because on the right, we don't do anything. But the left will boycott Fox News. The left will burn things to the ground. You don't see conservatives going to CNN and burning down the fucking CNN building because they lied once again, to the point where people have tried to kill the president of the United States more times than I can count. What are we at? 5, 6, something like that in 2 terms? That's absurd. That's almost one a year. That's not saying that Trump still has time in office. That's not saying that Trump isn't going to get whacked at some point. We're averaging, what? I think it was 5 or 6 now. They murdered Charlie Kirk in front of all of us, and nobody does anything about it. Everyone's just like, oh, well, it is what it is. Charlie knew the risks. Charlie shouldn't have had to know the risks. There shouldn't have been risks to talking to people at a college campus. There shouldn't be risks to that. But instead, we watch an American icon die, essentially live on Twitter. And then Candace Owens spews every conspiracy she can come up with. And nobody cares about the news. Nobody cares about what's actually going on. Nobody cares about why. Everyone just cares about the raccoon. So fuck it. Here's your video about the raccoon, I guess. We talked about Jimothy. Not that I didn't want to talk about Jimothy, but it's just like there's so much more important stuff going on, and nobody wants to hear it. And at a certain point, I get it. I really do. Because at a certain point, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to get into the intricacies of the Strait of Hormuz. I really don't. I don't care enough to do it. But, instead we're going to sit around and bicker about red versus blue some more, and then the left is going to fucking kill someone else or blow up another building or fucking whatever nonsense, radical, insane shit they're going to do this week. And honestly, it's just like I'm sitting here waiting every week. I'm like, what lunatic shit did they do this time? Every time I hear the Democrats, I'm like, what insane off-the-wall shit did they do this time? They killed Charlie Kirk. They tried to kill Trump. They tried to fucking burn down an ICE facility in New York City. They've shot at and attacked ICE agents. I think they've killed ICE agents. It's like we have a one-sided insurgency. What do we do? What do we do? And we just sit on our hands and we do nothing. Sooner or later, they're going to take power. They've already taken power because the police officer that kneeled on George Floyd's neck, I can't think of his name, he should be free. He should be let out of prison. And they know they can't let him out of prison because if they let him out of prison, he'll be killed. So the terrorists win. We've just given up. I don't know. I don't know what we do. I don't know where we go from here. Like I've been saying for a while, there's got to be an off-ramp somewhere. But it really seems like there isn't. There's got to be one somewhere. So I'll leave it there, I guess. I'll see y'all in the next one. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you understand where I'm coming from here, because it's terrifying that we have this kind of thing going on and nobody wants to talk about it because everyone's just bored of it. That's not a good place to be as a country. We are not in a good spot when it comes to this. So, Jimothy's adorable though, so let's all love the raccoon.